Now, without further ado, let's go to my first guest. That is the Director for the Centre for Migration and Economic Prosperity, former MEP, of course, as well, Stephen Woolfe. Good afternoon, Stephen.
Good afternoon, Kevin. I can't get their head out of naked canoeists.
I tell you, they've all been warned to put some clothes on. I mean, what's happening?
Not surprised.
The world has gone mad. And I tell you one area where I do think the world, perhaps it's not right to say it's gone mad, but it seems to be off kilter, is in terms of our ongoing migrant crisis. 600 of them came across the channel over the weekend. We're hearing today that as you and I speak, they're landing on the southern coast beaches right now, because, of course, the weather's good. In other words, the Rwanda scheme isn't working. We were assured that just the threat of the migrants being sent to East Africa as soon as they arrive in Britain would be enough to dissuade them from their voyages across the English Channel. It's not, is it? Then we learn that, first of all, they announced it about 3 weeks ago and said the first plane will take off in 6 weeks. And we all went, oh, yeah, good luck with that. And, of course, a delay has been announced to that. And then we learned that even if the scheme does get going, it's likely that only 300 migrants a year will be sent to Rwanda. They're not stupid, these migrants. They're going to pick up on all these details. They'll say 300 a year. There's 100,000 of us coming across this year. I think I'll take my chances. This Rwanda scheme, it isn't working, is it?
Well, at the moment, it's not working, Kevin, and you're quite right, and I agree with you, absolutely. People traffickers and those channel migrants are going to see the opportunity to get over here as soon as they can before the Rwandan scheme kicks in. Secondly, the Rwandan scheme is never going to be one that frightens off either the people traffickers or the channel migrants until they physically see people moving. And this is where we're now into the next phase. The reason why there are delays is because, as expected, you and I have talked about it before, the lawyers and the immigration industry have already stepped in and starting to challenge this in the courts. And to be fair on Priti Patel, I do recognise it. They issued a report that's online at the moment detailing why they believe the opposition arguments that will be raised in court are false and will fail. So they're prepared for this, they recognise it, but until they physically get people on the planes, then this scheme will be seen as a failure because no one will stop coming over.
But there also was, Stephen, the suggestion, or it's more than a suggestion, the proposal that the mere threat hanging there in the air of the possibility of these migrants arriving on our beaches and almost instantly being dispatched to East Africa would be enough to dissuade them. Now, we can dispatch that into the waste paper bin, can't we? Because that obviously is not working. They're piling across right now.
Yes, and I'm afraid that statement, which I think was one made by Boris rather than by Priti, was actually the one that I felt was a bit too adventurous, was a bit too optimistic, because whatever the government does, whether it says we will do X, people will try and do what they can right up to the deadline to either circumvent a regulation or a law. And people traffickers and channel migrants are no different than anybody else. They would certainly do that. The real threat is when they see people going, which is why this really important period happens now and the next few months, is how quickly can the government suppress the challenges, first of all in the lower courts, then into the upper courts, and hopefully stop those in the immigration industry from providing enough weaponry to keep these people here. That's going to be the toughest battle. And now, also looking at that, they then need to prove that it's more than 300 a year. Now, the Home Office released a statement, Kevin, yesterday that said they have removed 10,000 people since 2021. I've asked them for clarity on that because I think the numbers are smaller, and I know Migration Watch have done exactly the same. But our research still shows that no channel migrants have been removed from the country, which is a big difference. So until the people are frightened enough to say, look, we will be removed and there's going to be loads going to Rwanda, which is open-ended. I mean, there is no, in the deal, it's absolutely clear. You could have multi-thousands going to Rwanda, but we need to see multi-thousands going to Rwanda for it to be effective.
Stephen, we must talk about this at greater length another time. We're running out of time now. But final question to you, predicated on this point. It seems to me that it is vital that the government prove that this scheme is not just a political ruse, partly to get them through the local elections, partly to maintain that they're serious about the migrant crisis, but it is a real proposal. So it is vital that they get that first plane off to Rwanda as soon as possible, full of migrants. You're a lawyer. You know lawyers will be descending on this left, right and centre, the human rights mob, trying to set it. Out of 10, your prediction of how likely it is that a plane will get off the ground, shall we say within 2 months?
0.
OK, thank you, Stephen. We will talk again soon.